Alright, welcome to the radio room. I'm hoping this isn't too loud. The radio room is also the laundry room, utility room, storage room. It's a little bit of everything. So I normally try to not make videos while there's washing going on. But I was sitting out here in the radio room and this guy right here has been bothering me for a while, trying to figure out why it's not working right. It's like off frequency or can't find frequency. It seems to operate fairly decently, besides frequencies are way off. I've taken the boards out, I've cleaned contacts. Everything looks good. Not really sure what's going on with this thing. However, I was thinking, well, this thing's pretty old. And possibly the power supply. The caps have dried out. It's getting a lot of ripple in it or something, and that's mixing in with some things and throwing oscillators off. So, you know, I got to thinking about something else. What if we could supply power to this thing without having to worry about the internal power supply? And it does have a DC-in jack on it. And this thing is very heavy. This is supposed to be a field portable unit. Right there. 4 pins. This used to have a collar around it so that if you had an external DC input, you could come hook it on there and it would basically lock on there. It's kind of like this one right here for the blower fan, which does not want to come all loose right now, so we're not going to worry about that. So I'm going to pop the top on this. I'm going to see if I can figure out which pin's going where. This video is mostly just me being curious, and sometimes it's the easiest way to get into something is just to get in there, and you know what, the thing doesn't work right now, we can only improve it. So let me reposition the camera a little bit, and we'll see if we can get the top off of this thing and see what's inside. See if we can see where those pins go. Maybe figure out where power's going. Heck, we might even just see if we can figure out if the power supply does have a problem. Please excuse the shaky camera. I'm going to take the top off of this thing. This is on the big bench because this is a big, I mean, look at that. There's my hand. It's a big box. But I'd love to be able to get this piece of equipment working. It's a service monitor. And it's so many different tools in one. It's got a generator, a frequency generator in it. You can test power output of radios, transmitters, frequencies of transmitters. It's just so many tools in one. So let me get this top off real quick. It's already missing some screws. I think it's obviously had other people in it. I've been in it, trying to figure it out, cleaning it up and whatnot. Okay, let me, got some other projects going in the radio room. I need to move another radio out of the way. It's an old Drake 2C that's going to be getting a recap coming up. I'm gonna get it out of the way before we get too wild around here. Alright, so this connector is right there. This one right here. So there's a couple things I want to look at here. One, I wonder if this can be replaced with some other sort of type of jack. If I do go that route, I am going to want to have that connectable, not with just those pins sticking out of there. So let me do something real quick. I want to check. Obviously, all we have is white wires here. First off, if you are working on something like that, I'm going to tell you this. Let's see if I can get this in frame right there. Right there. Danger, high voltage. This has been off for quite a while. It probably doesn't have any charge on it, but I'm not going to be just sticking my fingers in everywhere here. But this right here is the jack. I'm almost wondering if that's replaceable with something else, and we'll look at that here in a little bit. But I need to figure out which one of these white wires is our voltage. From what I'm reading in the manual and everything, you can run this thing off of 13.6 volts, which just happens to be a normal old power supply. I'm thinking, I don't know, 10 amps should probably possibly power it. But let me pause a moment. I'm going to see if I can find a wiring schematic or something. Find something that in these wires, and I have a feeling right here, these right here might be the positive in. And the reason why I'm saying that is that right here is a fuse. Just pop that right out of the back of the service monitor here. So I'm betting that this is probably our positives. And then we'll just have to find out which one of these. This looks like a ground lug right here. So I'm willing to bet these are our, looks like there's two wires there. So two of these pins look like they're probably DC in, and then we have our ground. Not really sure what the other one's looking, what the fourth pin would be. That would be, two pins here, one pin there, or maybe there's two grounds. But there could be another pin doing something else, especially since there is another wire coming out of this jack that's going somewhere besides here or here. So let me take a look at a schematic real quick. See if I can figure out what we're doing here, and then we might see if we can't hook something up to this, a power supply, and see if we can get some power into this and actually make it work. Just for reference, right here, if I can get this around here so y'all can see, but down in there, let me get the unit moved around here a little bit. This is the power supply module for the whole unit when it's plugged into AC. And there's a few caps in there. They look like they're probably all original. Let me grab a light. Probably all original. I actually, this one right here, right there, almost looks like it's starting to get a bulge in it. possibly. Maybe just ever so slightly, and then there's one more in there as well. That looks like it could possibly maybe just be lifting up. Might be just the way it is. But what I want to do is find out if I can get power into the DC input. If so, and this thing actually behaves correctly and works, I can use this instrument off of an external power supply, and when I get the opportunity, I will rebuild the power supply, if that's the problem. I haven't been able to narrow down for certain whether power to the unit is the problem or not. But like I said, let me pause. I'm going to take a look at wiring schematic real quick, see if we can see what's going on. Might also plug this thing in, see if I can find the service manual. All these right here look like they might be test points. So possibly, and these look like some adjustments as well. Find some test points right here. We might be able to check to see if that power is good that's going to the rest of the unit. One cool thing about this I've always kind of thought was nice. If you look right here, you can see all these cards right here. They actually lift out. Each module is normally, when you do maintenance on this unit, maintenance is done by replacing modules, which are all these. They just got little, you gotta get down in there with a screwdriver, I think, but there's little Phillips in there and the whole card lifts out. But like I said, let me pause, see if I can figure out which wire is going where down there, and we might see if we can't put some power to this thing, turn it on, and see if it behaves a little bit better. So back in just a couple seconds for you, a few minutes for me. Okay, and we're back. Looked at a schematic I found of the way the power is coming into the service monitor. Let's see if I can get a bigger screen here. All right, so right over. So make sure I'm in the right spot here. Right over here is the DC input. That's that jack on the back. And like we've seen in the previous picture, and I'll go back to it here in just a few minutes, you do have two lines that come together from two separate pins for DC input, which goes over to a fuse. I did look at the manual for this particular unit, and it lists that as a 8 amp fuse. I did check the back of it. It's got a 7.5 amp fuse in it. I'm guessing that's been replaced. But we do have two pins that are DC positive, and we do have a ground. That other wire I was wondering about is apparently for a battery charging circuit, to charge the battery. Not really sure where the well, let me check something here. Comes over, comes up. We do have a battery charge right here. So I'm not really sure what battery that's charging, unless there's another battery you can put inside here. I don't see where there's room for that, unless it doesn't have the power supply in it, maybe. But that is right there what we're looking at. So we got to figure out which two pins is the DC input to get 13.6 volts is what this one says. I do believe, let me check here, going over to the operator's manual here. Oh, I found it somewhere in here. The input voltage on the DC on the back, I think it'd be anywhere between like 11 and 15. 11 and 15 volts, I believe. Let me see if I can find where it's got that. Apparently we don't have bookmarks. Let me see if I can find where it's talking about operating from a battery. Give me just a moment. Input, DC output, relay, low power supply. It's got to be in operation somewhere. Specifications. Okay. So it does say that DC from an external 12 volt source such as a service vehicle. So it can't be too specific, just because of the fact that a vehicle could have varying voltage on it. Okay, so here the battery pack is a 13.6 volt battery and charger that attaches to the back of the unit, which I do not have. So we will look at first off, we know these wires right here are positive. This one right here is going to ground. So really to test this, I could hook up a power supply and just hook up right here and right here carefully. Instead of trying to get on these bent pins, they're pretty small, and see if that does make it work or not. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm thinking if the internal power supply maybe isn't real clean, it might be throwing off the rest of the unit from being able to precisely oscillate, generate frequencies, things like that. So I'm thinking maybe if I run a external regulated power supply into it, it's not going to use the internal power supply. And you know, what the heck, let's see what happens. It's more of one of those type of deals. If that doesn't work, then maybe there's more troubleshooting to do, more research I need to do on the machine. So give me a few moments. Let me get a power supply out here and get some wire, so we can hook up to this thing and test it out. I do want something that's going to handle up to 8 amps. So I'm not going to just probably use some tiny little test leads. If I do, I'm going to have to, double them up or so. But let me get to getting that set up, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. I've built up some test leads. Pretty decent gauge wire. I'll give you a comparison. Probably 10 or 12 gauge wire, which is going to be more than enough. Just with some alligator clips. Again, alligator clip to the input of the fuse right here. Put some black tape around this in case it gets a little wild. Maybe it's got a less of a chance of shorting out against something. And of course, the right over here got the ground one hooked up. It's hooked up to a 30 amp power supply. I will move some stuff around here so we can see the front of the service monitor before we try this. And I will double check the voltage on the variable power supply to make sure it's about 13.6, which seems like the nominal voltage for the DC input. But I just wanted to show you how I got that clipped in there right now. And like I said, we don't have the AC power cord even plugged into this right now, so it will be running off the DC power supply. So let me reconfigure some stuff so you guys can see the front of the service monitor and the camera, and we'll see if we Can't get this thing to turn on using an external power supply. Alright, so I got the service monitor moved around so we can get it in camera. Do have the power supply hooked up back here. Not sure you can see that. My hand right here. It is hooked up back here. Power supply is off right now. I'm going to go ahead and turn the power supply on. And everything looks good so far. And then we will go to on. And it does appear to be working right now. I'm going to turn this volume down a little bit. And we do have display. So, let that kind of warm up a little bit. And it seems like it's doing some things. We're on AM right now. Sounds like frequencies are moving around in it, so we might not have solved anything by doing this. I'm gonna get an antenna hooked up to the front of it, see if we can't get it to go on to some sort of frequency. I'm actually going to hook an external antenna up to it. Currently, according to the meter on the power supply, this thing's running right about, a little over 3 amps. When my lead is going to, external antenna lead is going to reach that far. Not sure if it's going to or not. Might have to put an extension on it. Okay, now it's been a day or two since I operated this thing, but let me see if I can get it into a frequency we might be able to test.
Were against the Patriots, the Broncos, the Giants, the Panthers, and then the Patriots again.
Yeah.
That's really a who's who of what's not. They got blown out in Buffalo. They lost, blowout loss at the Eagles. They lost a competitive game against the Chiefs last week. But, yeah, to me, the Dolphins and the Cowboys are in the same boat.
So that's a radio station we're listening to right now. Sounds like sports. I'm gonna shut that down. I'm gonna check to see what that's actually on right now, just versus a versus a known local frequency. I got it on a specific frequency right now, and I want to see if it's going to be the same one. Oops. Well, it's picking something up.
For the Bills then?
You're hearing another station that's on a different radio.
Always comes first, except on an
Okay, see, it sounds like it's kind of maybe not. Maybe this isn't the problem with it because we're running off a separate power supply. Let me.
Back.com/sports. Five-gallon pail of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams all-purpose power products. Plus, MVP's members earn 3 times the bonus points.
I'm not really sure which one we're listening to right now.
By Sherwin-Williams products. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros.
Okay, apparently our display says 1010 kilohertz, and apparently that's 680. Which it is not hearing. See, before this thing seemed like it was always about 12 megahertz off.
Jamar Chase with the Cincinnati Bengals. Why do I choose a sleep number smart bed? Because I only go all out. I ain't
See, there's nothing at 12. That's 12.6 megahertz.
And now during our Black Friday sale.
Okay, so right there, there's another same channel, but we're showing 12.6 here. So that did not solve the problem. So it's going to, I guess, be back to the drawing board trying to figure out what's going on with this thing. Something stopping it from correctly operating on the right frequency. So. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Just ramblings around in the radio room today. Tinkering with some stuff. Just wanted to try this out, see if it solved anything. Doesn't seem to have done so. So I guess we're back to the drawing board on that. Just thought I'd make a quick video on this. Wasn't a successful one, but it was good. I think it was worth an experiment. I think that might have narrowed down. Possibly it's not a power supply issue on this because we're not running off the power supply for the unit. Although it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to check the power supplies to make sure the voltages are right. But it looks like there's probably some other problems with this service monitor, and it might take me a little longer to figure it out. You know, when I have time to work on it, do some research on it, but one of the fun things and one of the reasons why I do these videos and work out in the radio room is to learn new things. So, hope y'all learned something. You can listen to radio stations on a service monitor that are nowhere near the right frequency. So I'll probably do some more testing on this. I do have another project that's slated for the radio room right now. It's working on a Drake 2C receiver. Cleaning it up. Doing a little testing on it, see if we can't do a little alignment on the Drake. And probably change some capacitors in it. Last time I had operated it, which has been a couple years ago, it had a terrible buzz in it. So I'm suspecting it's probably just got some bad caps in it. Filter caps on the power supply. We'll probably change all the electrolytics in it. But
If everyone's on the same page, everyone's like, this guy's pretty good, we like him, we want him.
yeah, that's an interesting little deal there. So, really want to figure this thing out right here. This is just such a wonderful piece of test equipment. As you can see, I mean, you can generate and monitor stuff. You can check modulations. Got a limited spectrum analyzer in it, frequency counter in it. You can generate modulation. So you can actually send signals out of this into a radio and set it at just a precise level and what frequency you want to have it modulated at. So you can test transmitters. So you'll have a tone, say, on a single sideband transmitter. You can run a radio into this. And it's, sorry about the camera there. I want to say it's 125 watt limit on this. I wouldn't do it for very long, but you can run a transmitter into this and do power checks, frequency checks. It'll tell you what frequency it's on, modulation. This is just such a wonderful tool, as long as I can get it figured out. So, alrighty. Well, maybe somebody out there knows exactly what is going on here. It just seems like it's always off 12 and a half megahertz. Isn't really labeled there. I mean, I can probably find this somewhere else too. And see, it's moving around now.
When you want news, we got you. Yeah, breaking news in the world of college basketball. When you want.
Oh, see, now I'm picking up a totally different frequency at the original 1240. So let me see if I can find out where we're at right now. I'm not even sure what we're listening to right now.
Sports 940, Dolphins Radio Network. Dolphins lead the Raiders by
we're back on to
14.
680.
Yeah, we got a minute.
A moment ago it wasn't even the same thing. So, all right, that's what we got here, running off an external power supply, and it did not seem to fix the problem. So, the power supply is good. I thought maybe there was some ripple or something going on that was really throwing things off. I might check some other things. I suppose it's possible you could still have power coming here and still, if it's in any way connected to the, I'll have to see how the internal power supply and the external power supply come together. Maybe there could be some stuff even in the power supply that's dragging weird voltages to the rest of it. So, all right, let me go ahead and finish this video up. If anybody happens to know one of these and knows maybe what's going on, could be in one of the modules up here. Maybe I believe one of these modules actually is the one that generates all the signals, and I think there's multipliers or something in there that change between different frequency ranges. So, all right. Didn't have much luck, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to dive in and see what happens. Just try to do it carefully. Thanks for stopping by the radio room. See you later.